Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Taking a look here at Solana, seeing what's going on for the price action here. Pretty safe to say though, we're still bearish, just to kind of open up with that. I recognize this is your favorite coin and you're gonna probably get offended by me saying that we're still bearishly diverging, but the truth is we haven't honored this descending trend line, or sorry, correction, descending trend line by breaking it. And we have to respect the fact that it's going to continue lower. So the simple way to understand it is that until a trend reverses itself, you're more likely to find success going that same direction. So when all the indicators kind of seem to be kind of funky, the best way to trade is to reference where the trend lines are. Okay. Again, overall trend is still down until we break above this. We're going to look at areas of invalidation here today. You have to presume the price will continue lower. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some liquidation levels. This will help us understand, momentum, more so importantly, areas of opportunity where the momentum could continue lower or perhaps even pivot. We do see a lot less late longs here than previous, which basically just implies that the whales or the market makers are kind of bored. Like, okay, fine, we're done picking on these guys for a while. Let's go ahead and go the opposite direction because there's a lot of shorts we want to destroy instead. And again, they do that not to kind of just destroy portfolios because that's not necessarily their goal. They want to build theirs. And a lot of it just hinges on the simple fact that with less opposition, they can continue to push the price action where they want. So now they can't sell anymore. There's less selling pressure. Nobody wants to buy. So in turn, they're going to start buying and get everybody interested in that instead. So there's a solid chance that with this liquidation where it's at, we probably see a recovery in the range of 140 to 145. But you do need to understand, holiday weekends like this are notoriously bearish, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a sell-off come Monday. So if we see a slight little rally this weekend, for example, today and tomorrow, I would be careful come Monday, because generally speaking, we're going to see some kind of sell-off. Okay, it's just kind of a history. I looked at the last 2 or 3 years worth of holiday weekends, and none of them are very fantastic. They're really low volume, as per usual, but Mondays are almost always red. Okay, and those are holidays themselves. My guess is that Asian markets are securing profits before U.S. markets are open. That's my guess, but we'll see, obviously, here in a couple days. And anyways, the whole point of this is that there's not a lot of liquidation on the downside. There's a little bit more to the upside. Still not a lot. Perhaps incentive for the price to push a little higher. And just to clarify, that's 140 to 145. I'm paraphrasing there, but it's in this range here, right there, close to that fair value gap too. So there's a solid chance that fair value gap will get filled. It may not happen this weekend. I wouldn't expect a lot this weekend. In fact, I'm mostly bearish on the weekend itself, but I'm also not gonna flip a coin and hope for the best by taking a trade into the weekend because, as you can see, there's not a lot going on. Volume is dried up. So all that being said, let's go and take a look at the monthly and kind of work our way down and see where we're at, because it's important to recognize a few key factors here for this coin and understand, best practice for that. We have a bearish engulfing candle. Obviously, we've known that. Everything's pretty well bearish on the monthly. There's nothing really to kind of specify, except for the fact that the moving averages are generally below the price action. Okay. Now, we don't have enough data here for the 50-day SMA, but at this point here, based on the 20, we're above that. So generally construed as an overall bullish trend. So even if the price pulls back down to the $80, it'll still be considered bullish in the sense of, we're on the right side of tracks there. Okay. I know it seems kind of weird and strange to think of it that way, but it moved up so fast, so quickly that this hasn't had time to catch up. And the fact that it's below us is a very positive sign, even though we have more shorter term divergences, if you will. That's more important to recognize that it's still in good shape. This is a better iteration here of that, where we can see the weekly, we're above all moving averages minus the 20. That's an important factor there. Being under the 20 lets us know that, hey, we're shifting momentum. And in this immediate future, we can presume the price will probably continue lower because of that. Okay. Again, that's just kind of the presumption. Are you going to just take a massive short right now to the ground because of that? No, but it just implies that the obvious momentum has shifted. We've got a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly as well, and that leads me to believe, with us being back under 50 in the RSI, strong likelihood we will, because this candlestick hasn't officially closed yet. But just say we have the same price today and tomorrow, then we'll close below that, and that would generally be bearish as well. Okay. Again, it's not a definitive line in the sand, not telling us it's we're going straight to the ground, but there's a solid consideration for further downside because of that. We also broke through our local low here, which the lowest point for Solana was that 138 range we talked about previously. We've now officially closed above it yesterday, and so far we're looking to close below today. So if we don't close above 138 today, that solid support level could become a resistance, right? And that's what we want to pay attention to. So all that being said, we're fully bearish on the daily. This has the similar makings of Bitcoin's chart as well. where stochastic is getting maxed out to the downside. We can see MACD's diverging. We're under 50 on the RSI. There's really nothing here telling us that we should expect monumental things from Solana. And we can see, of course, we have a lot of divergence being under all the moving averages. So generally speaking, the trend right now is pointing down. What do you do in that scenario? You're more likely to find success shorting. You got to keep in mind we're at a tentative bottom. I don't think it's super large. When we see this low amount of long pressure, if you will, no pressure at all, basically nobody wants to buy this lower level, you would expect the price to continue lower, which is relatively true, but there's a certain point in which you can't sell anymore, right? Nobody else is willing to sell, and the price has to go up. We're getting close to that. We are potentially going to be able to break above the 20-day SMA, this descending trend line. That could shift the momentum. We've got a MACD convergence here as well, which is super weak. I wouldn't trust it, but that's kind of letting us know that it's trying, all right? Same thing as well with money flow index being closer to 20 and the RSI being closer to 30. That's usually a good sweet spot to consider buying for a long, okay? Now, I'm not proposing you buy a long or take a long on this trade, this coin, into the weekend. But if this wasn't a weekend, this would be a prime opportunity to consider a long. Just making sure you pay close attention to it and understanding that it is a high risk trade. But this is getting closer to the bottom. Hypothetically, we could very well be at the makings of a double bottom, right? We don't know until we get there, and the truth is it's best to avoid trading right now at this exact time. But generally speaking, that's something to be mindful of. Okay, last but not least here, Ichimoku Cloud. This is all the more reason to not take a long. Just so you know, I want you to walk away from this conversation understanding we are not bullish whatsoever. There's only one time that I ever try buying or taking longs without confirmation would be the 4-hour RSI money flow index combination. That in combination with the fact that we have very little buying pressure here, or more so just no liquidation to the downside, pretty much implies that we're going to see the price recover. At least it's a strong likelihood. However, everything's telling us we're bearish and there's no reason to trade into that. We're still under the cloud, lagging spans, kind of within the price action. It's a big mess. Every one of these indicators are saying don't buy, don't sell, okay? When you have that in a weekend, there's no reason to take a trade. Unless you're like super itching to take a long or a short, watch it close and just know that the overall trend is down until we break free from this descending trend line. That should continue. Once we do, we may be able to have a different conversation. So what I'm looking for, likely Tuesday or later, because again, this holiday weekend is something you probably want to avoid. We're looking for a closure in the 140 or higher range so we can warrant a long position with more confidence. We'd be over the cloud. The lagging span would be free and clear of the price action at that point. We'd have a situation where it'd be just overall better. Would it be perfect? Absolutely not. But that would be the start of something we want to look for. Okay. Trend reversals are not always easy to identify, but once you understand what they look like, you have a larger statistical probability of success. Right now, the odds are super against you if you take a long. There's no other way around it. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Thanks again so much for watching. Like, subscribe, follow if you haven't already, and make sure that you join us over on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. I provide playout charts, relevant information for you. It's all there for you if you're curious. Thanks again for being a good part of my life. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.